Hi everyone, my name is Han. I'm a PhD student at the Trieu University. Today I would like to present my research title, Photogrammetry for Surface Flow Velocity Measurement. Now let's take a look at what's found inside my study. Through my presentation, I will briefly introduce the topic of flow velocity measurement by photogrammetry, and then move on the methodology to see how a photogrammetry-based measurement is performed. Then the results, some discussion will be reported, and finally, ongoing works of this study. Let's start with the first part of my presentation. So the question here is, what is photogrammetry and why should we investigate this technique? Photogrammetry can be briefly defined as a process of deriving metric information about an object through measurement made on the photograph of the object. And you all know that measuring flow velocity of rivers is a major task in hydrometry because its importance in many hydrological research questions. For example, to determine the discharge of rivers, to explore eco-hydrologic issues such as fish migration, pollutant transport, or river erosion, and so on. For natural water flow, traditional ways to measure water flow velocity usually need to contact to water body. However, these velocity estimation methods are time-consuming. The data obtained are often for a limited area, and it even can endanger personal safety. With the development of image analysis, the difficulties in flow measurement can be overcome by utilizing image-based approaches. The objective of this study is to develop further image analysis and technique to measure hydropower flows. The ambition here is to focus on the technique that does not interfere with normal plant operation. That means involving no instrumentations in the plant or even in the flow, minimizing limitations due to safety aspects. The presentation today will be about our principal investigation of using photogrammetry for surface velocity flow measurement, both in the lab and at the natural river flow. Okay, in this slide, I would like to show you the workflow of image-based surface flow velocity measurement. The procedure consists two main parts: camera calibration and analyzation of the measurement objective. The camera calibration step estimates the interior and exterior parameter of the cameras. The interior parameter consists the parameters of the lens and the image sensors, cameras, and exterior camera parameters estimate the position and orientation of the cameras in object coordinate system. The cameras capture the flow that carries particle or floating structure on its surface. Feature search area are defined is defined in the image. Then the feature are detected and tracked in image sequences, along with the filtering and clustering analysis. The final track georeference to find the coordinates of a particle in object space. And finally, the surface, the velocity of each particle will be found by its movement, the lag time between one frame and the next frame. Now I will move on laboratory setup for surface velocity measurement of an open channel flow. In this experiment, we use a camera system that consists of 4 cameras. The camera system are covered in a box we call photogrammetry box. in order to mitigate the impact of other light sources in the lab. This box was put above the channel. All cameras are synchronized to capture the image at the same time. In the lab condition, we use the checkerboard pattern to perform the camera calibration. This camera calibration method gives us both intrinsic and extrinsic camera parameter. The water surface was seeded with colorful wooden beads, as you see in this picture. Here in the left picture is a pump controller to control the flow rate. The water depth is measured by a ruler, and that is a water surface with seeding particles. This is an image of the channel flow from one camera. In order to avoid the particles from sticking together, we have to soak them in water for a while before seeding them on the flow. The particles are seeded from the in position of the channel. All cameras capture the flow continuously. For this setup, our camera system can capture maximum about 25 consecutive frames with a frame rate around 3.1 or 3.2 frames per second. That's how we set up the lab experiment. Next, I would like to talk about our field measurement campaign. The location we will carry down the measurement is in Svedjebrunn in Boden, Norrbotten. This actually is a cable bridge on a cycle path. If you go to upstream, about 800 meters is Boden hydropower plant. In this measurement, we used two cameras. The cameras were installed on the bridge. The distance from the camera to water surface was around 11 or 12 meters. The upper left picture is a view where we install the cameras, set up the trigger, and collect the data from the bridge. The field measurement is very different from the lab because it's performed in a very large measurement volume in a natural condition with wind and sunlight. It is therefore not sufficient to use checkerboard pattern for camera calibration. Here we perform the interior and exterior camera calibration separately. The interior calibration executed by capturing a natural pattern of the riverbank at the distance similar to distance from cameras to water surface, and then analyzing in ArcGIS to get the intrinsic camera parameters. For exterior camera calibration, we use a reference wooden frame with known coordinates of some reference points on it. When all camera was well set up, the wooden frame was hung above the water surface. Two cameras capture this wooden frame at the same time. The camera position and orientation then can be derived from those images. An object coordinate system is defined by coordinate system of wooden frame. At the natural river flow, we expected to catch the natural pattern on the water surface, like you see in the upper right picture. This picture captured at the same location only of this June. Unfortunately, when we performed our measurement lately of the June, during the measurement campaign, the waters there was so clean and there was not such a natural structure on the water surface. So we used some kind of seeding particle instead. Here is the oranges, and this one is a popcorn. and we also use a cross leaf to sit on the water surface. The measurement campaigns were carried out 2 times. Let's say measurement day 1 and day 2. Okay, from now on, our results will be reported. Firstly, I would like to talk about results of flow velocity measured in the lab. For channel flow velocity measurement in the lab, each group of particles will follow the flow and be in the measurement volume during a period of time. So here the particles are divided into groups by tracking time and shown in this figure. It should be noted that with more than one camera, the accuracy can be improved and the movement of vector velocity particles can be obtained in 3D. The velocity of each particle will be found by its movement per time lag between one frame to the next frame. And surface velocity distribution along the channel from all group of particles are shown in this figure, with the mean velocity in main flow direction is around 87 millimeters per second. Across the channel, we see a surface velocity distribution with a higher velocity at the middle of flow and lower velocity near the wall of the channel. The right figure illustrates a comparison of surface velocity by PIV, LTV, and our photogrammetry method. In our image-based measurement experiment, the measurement was performed in the same flow condition at the flow rate of around 1,500 liters per hour, and water depth was at 15 millimeters. We can see a good agreement between the surface velocity from velocity profile and photogrammetry basis result. Finally, surface flow velocity mapping is shown in this figure. Here is the flow direction. Now, surface velocity of river flow will be reported. As I mentioned above, during our field measurement campaigns, the river water was clean and totally no natural pattern was carried on the water surface. Therefore, floating particle was sit on the flow. In the measurement day 1, we used oranges and cross leaf. This figure illustrates the surface flow velocity distribution across the river ridge, actually across a portion of a river ridge, with the mean velocity value at around 1 meter per second. And here the velocity field can be obtained. And this one is the result of measurement day 2. Similar in the measurement day 1. Similar to measurement day 1, we use oranges, cross leaf, and also we use popcorn as the seeding particles. It should be reminded that the image with the oranges, we use the feature detection and tracking method for image analysis, and the remaining image of cross leaf and popcorn, the image correlation technique was applied. The velocity distribution profile shows the mean velocity value of 1.2, around 1.2 meter per second. And here is surface velocity field of measurement day 2. And now we try to validate the photogrammetry basis approach by comparing our surface velocity data with the data of water flow by drift central data. And you can see here the flow rate on day 2 a bit larger than the water flow on the day 1, and the surface velocity we get a bit higher for day 1 than for day 2 than day 1, and it could be said that the trend in the flow velocity between day 1 and day 2 correlates with the trends of flow rate. From the result we got with the measurement in the lab and the field measurement campaigns, we include that the measurement of surface flow velocity can be enabled independently of the perspective from which images are acquired. And with the non-contact measurement, simply set up, surface velocity field can be obtained. And finally, ongoing works of this research, we focused on measuring rapid water flow using high-speed camera, applied for water flow near spillway and turbulent flow. And we are going to continue with surface velocity measurement without seeding. And then we are going to move on the application of drones in the flow measurement. This research was supported by the Swedish Hydropower Center. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Han. We have a question in the chat. What distinguishes this from particle tracking velocimetry?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very clear. Could you repeat again?
Sure. Your method compared to particle tracking velocimetry, which is one kind of measurement method.
Yeah.
What would you say is the difference?
Could I just stop sharing the screen?
You've stopped sharing the screen. We can only see you right now. So
yeah. The question is about the comparison between the surface velocity we get from photogrammetry method with the velocity profile by PIV and LDV.
Yeah, and particle tracking velocimetry, but that's similar to PIV, of course. Yes.
Yes. Actually the velocity profile that are produced by my former college. When we perform our measurement in the open channel in the lab, we set up the condition of the trainer at the same condition when he performed his experiment with the PIV and LDV at the flow rate around 1,500 liter per hour, and the water depth was about 15 millimeter. So I set up my experiment with the camera system at the same condition when he performed his experiment, and the velocity profile we got from photogrammetry is surface velocity. So that result will compare with the velocity profile at the surface of flow. Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a question for myself.
Yeah.
Maybe you mentioned this initially, but for hydropower applications, of course, it's maybe the flow rate that's interesting, but also, of course, the velocity field, of course, near the surface, basically applied to fish. What would you say would be the primary applications for surface velocity measurements?
The application of surface velocity.
Yes.
Yes. As you know that the velocity of the flow tend to be largest in the surface and decreased at the lower water level. Yeah. So I think that I'm not really catching what do you mean? Sorry.
No worries. No, just about if you just measure at the surface, you don't get that much information about what happens below, and to get the entire flow rate, you would need both. But of course, you get some information out of the surface velocity. Let me come back to the first question. To the first question quickly, what was rather if particle tracking velocimetry is sort of the same thing as your photogrammetry, and I guess that goes back to the evaluation algorithms and so on.
I couldn't hear you clearly. Sorry, I have problem with my.
I can publish the question in the chat.
Could you just publish the question in the chat and I will respond? Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Hong. We need to continue with the next presentation. Och då välkomnar vi Mikael Hedberg. Hur var det nu? Var han kameralös?
Han är kameralös.
Thank you, I will.
Thank you, Hong.